There are so many video games out there for gamers to experience, with some of those leaving long-lasting impressions on us. I've played plenty of video games, with a few that have stood out amongst the ocean of games. Some of these games left me with a magical experience where I can't recapture that magic a second time. Even though these games I am about to talk about have incredible replay value, with some being able to be played forever, I'm specifically talking about the first ever playthrough with the games. The magical first experience with them that I wish I could recapture. These are games I wish I could replay for the first time. Before we get into it, I just wanted to do a few honorable mentions of magical experiences I've had with other games that didn't quite make the cut. The first one is a game called Sayonara Wild Hearts. This is a rhythm game with a unique art style and a banger soundtrack. If you haven't played this yet, this should be a game you should give a shot. It takes about an hour to beat, but that hour will be magical. The next one is The Last of Us. I played through this one for the first time with my buddies on the channel doing a Let's Play of it, and my god, was that hilarious. Still to this day my favorite Let's Play. The Last of Us has an incredible story and is such a ride from start to finish. The last game I wanted to mention is The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. This one is a game that has grown up alongside me, and one that I have seen beaten and beaten myself countless times throughout the years. I replay it often just to get that nostalgic feeling I got when I was a kid. Ocarina of Time is an awesome experience, and I love this game to death. Those are my honorable mentions. Now let's get into the rest of the games. I have been a Halo stan since its birth, alongside my dad, who bought an Xbox and played Halo with me. Video games in general, but more specifically the Halo series, is how I bonded with my dad. We spent so much time playing through Halo 1 and 2 throughout the years that I've memorized both games almost down to each line of dialogue. With the release of the Xbox 360 and the announcement of the final Halo game in the trilogy, I was beyond excited, but also a little sad knowing that I may not be getting another Halo game to play with my dad in the future. Leading up to that Christmas, the anticipation was building in my shorts, me knowing full well that Santa Claus was going to come through for me and give me the gift of all gifts, Halo 3 and an Xbox 360. When I played through the game with my dad for the first time, I was in awe. It's hard for me to explain how I felt because it is just that, a feeling. I don't know if you've ever experienced anything like that, but even to this day, I can think about Halo 3 and that first time I played through with my dad and still remember that feeling. Fighting through all the Covenant and the Flood, trying out all the new weapons and vehicles, discovering secrets and Easter eggs, along with trying to get every achievement. When my dad and I finally beat the game on Legendary and got that Legendary ending, I felt a bittersweet feeling. The magic of that first playthrough was gone, and I was never able to get it again. I had memorized all the levels and layouts, where all the different enemies would be. Every time Cortana and the Gravemind would talk and bring the game to a halt, there was no more surprises. After playing through the campaign who knows how many times with my dad and friends, I soon turned to the next doorway to more magic regarding Halo 3, and that was Xbox Live. I created my Xbox Live account and was now gaming with all of my friends and random people around the world. From custom games with the boys to getting my account boosted and ranked, I quickly learned how bad I was at Halo compared to all the random gamers I was playing with and how bad my internet was. There was always just a slight delay whenever I would play Halo 3 online, but I learned to love it. Xbox Live was also the turning point for me gaming with my dad. I spent more time gaming with my friends online and could never get him to join me. He wanted to play through the campaigns fighting aliens, not other gamers. We would occasionally play through the campaigns of all the different Halos over the years after my Xbox Live era, but those magic times were gone. I know you could argue that this whole experience was heightened by the fact that I was a kid, and I would say, yeah, you're probably right. But there are more games on this list that I've played within the last 5 years, so magic is still yet to be had as a gamer. One day when I was browsing YouTube, as one does, the Overlord algorithm recommended me a song called Hopes and Dreams from a game called Undertale. I immediately fell in love with the song and had started listening to the entire game's soundtrack and was now hooked. It was probably a couple of months before I decided to play the game, finally. I mean, I love the music, so the game should be good too. And it was very good. Booting up Undertale for the first time was amazing, and going in blind made it even better for me. I knew nothing about the game or gameplay, so everything was a surprise for me. The pixel graphics were charming, the music and atmosphere were immersive, and the combat was, and is, still some of the most unique I've ever experienced, turning into a bullet hell dodging minigame each time you encounter a monster. This gameplay made me want to run into every monster I could just to see and experience their different bullet hell moves. It was exciting traveling to all the different areas and tying the songs I had heard for the last couple of months to characters and locations. Hearing the song Home while in the motherly care of goat mom, Toriel, was comforting. Being in Snowden Town and hearing the Very Chipper song, or opening a shop and hearing that theme. I've never fought Sans before because I know I won't be able to beat him, but hearing Megalovania in a YouTube video of the fight was really cool. When I first played through it, I had no idea about the different routes, that my actions of killing monsters had any consequence. The combination of music, story, and gameplay are like no other that I've experienced. In a short time, I fell in love with Undertale, and the twist in the story towards the end is such a gut punch, and should be experienced blind if you've never played this game. Once again, Undertale offers so much replay value with the different routes and all the secrets that there are hidden in the game, but that first time magic was incredible. I love Undertale so much that I bought in the collector's edition. Undertale is one of those games that you should try at least once in your life. If not, at least listen to the soundtrack. It's amazing. The year was 2012. Thane was hanging out with me at my grandma's house and had brought over his Xbox 360. He proceeded to boot up a blocky-looking Lego game called Minecraft and told me how much fun it was. I was very skeptical, to say the least, repeating over and over again how bad the graphics looked and how stupid the game was. It was 4-player split screen, drop in, drop out, so he handed me a controller, I dropped into the world, and then before I knew it, the entire night had passed. 8 hours of my life had vanished before my eyes with me being lost in the world of Minecraft. The magical feeling of learning new recipes, finding new mobs, learning how to craft different things and farm animals and crops, building your nasty dirt house for the first time, getting completely lost in a mine looking for iron and gold, finding your first batch of diamonds and then breaking them with a stone pick, having way too much on your person and then you dig into a pit of lava, losing everything, causing you to beg all the homies to revert to the last autosave. The music in Minecraft is so nostalgic for me that anytime I hear it, I long for that first time magic playing in the basement of my grandma's with the boys. Going on adventures to find new areas to build while listening to the soft piano feels like home to me. Minecraft was so addicting for me at the time that I immediately went home and bought it on the 360 marketplace and got my sisters playing Minecraft. I started to consume every YouTube video about the game that I could, learning how to build mob spawners and finding ways to enchant my weapons, finding diamonds faster and the best world seeds. Minecraft also got me to start watching specific YouTubers. I watched a weekly series by the Yogscast called Tech It and would watch every episode upon release. Minecraft had exploded and taken over every young kid's life. It was on every console and phone. People started making great value brand Minecraft games, and yes, I played those on my iPod whenever we went on trips. With every update, we would get super excited, but also pissed at the same time because if you wanted the new content, you couldn't update your world. You had to start a new one. Worlds that we had who knows how many hours in were lost to the abyss, never to be touched again because of this updating nonsense. However, we were still just as excited all the same to get the new mobs, biomes, recipes, and much more. Minecraft to this day is probably the game I've put the most hours into. Could be in the thousands, but I guess I never will really know. About once every year, me and the boys will start a realm and play the hell out of it. They have added lots of new music, which honestly slaps hard. New biomes, especially in the Nether, and lots of new items and recipes, so it's kinda nice taking breaks, and whenever we play again, we get all the new content. It will never compare to the first magical night I spent playing Minecraft with the boys, and that's okay. I am not a fan of JRPGs. They're extremely long, and I've never enjoyed turn-based combat. When Cole had first moved in with us back in 2019, he had told me about a Let's Player named Chugga Conroy, and that I should watch his series on Xenoblade Chronicles. So I did, watching about 20 episodes or so, and then stopped. It took Cole a very long time, but he had convinced me to play Xenoblade the Definitive Edition when it came out on Switch, and I immediately fell in love with it. The combat in this game is not like a traditional JRPG, it's more of an action RPG. You have auto attacks, and those attacks build up arts, which are stronger attacks. Some attacks have certain debuffs for the enemies, buffs for your party, and can chain into combos to deal massive amounts of damage to the enemies. Once I learned how the combat worked, I fell in love with it, and it became addicting. It's kind of like a puzzle to solve, and the farther you progress in the game, you can change up how the puzzle is solved. You can do chain attacks as well that give you more combos with your party, dealing massive amounts of damage, and are used mostly on bosses and super bosses. The exploring in Xenoblade is amazing. Basically, anywhere you can see, you can typically go to that location. I spent so many hours exploring the world, finding secret locations, and filling out my Collectopedia. Paired with the amazing music that this game has to offer makes exploring such a joy, plus you get a day version and a night version of each song. And some of the world jewelry and the aesthetic changes depending on the time of day as well. The game rewards the player so much for exploring. Fun fact, the outro song that we've been using since 2017 in our YouTube videos comes from Xenoblade Chronicles. It's the battle song called You Will Know Our Names. The story for Xenoblade is equally as amazing as everything else I've talked about up to this point, and is a huge driving factor of keeping you progressing to find out more about this strange world that you were in. The game takes place on top of these two giant mechs called the Bionis and the Mechonis. Throughout the game, you walk all over both of these titans, from a chopped off limb to on top of their swords. It's cool how the world and story are so intertwined. I don't think I've played a game up to this point that had sucked me into the world and story as much as Xenoblade did. I was so addicted to this game that I tried to learn as much as possible and interact with all the mechanics to make sure I was getting the most out of it. From watching videos on how to build my characters, to learning how Shulk and Rein craft the best gems for my party members. The magic of my first playthrough with this one was amazing. I usually long for a game that I can completely dive into and get addicted. That was Xenoblade for me, consuming lore videos, watching Enel destroy every super boss, speedruns, and of course talking to Cole about the game. I love Xenoblade and have since played all 3 games and their DLCs. If there is a game series that I would want everyone to experience before they died, this is it. Play Xenoblade Chronicles. It is criminally underrated and deserves to be up there with the Breath of the Wilds. Speaking of which, in 2017, Breath of the Wild came out and Thane had gotten it on the Wii U. We decided to do a Let's Play of it, but we never edited or trimmed it. It was a full raw dog experience, and I got to watch. It looked amazing, and I enjoyed watching and play through a lot of the game, but I didn't have a Wii U or a Switch to play the game and never jumped on it for that reason. It wasn't until 2019 that I asked Thane if I could borrow his Switch and play through Breath of the Wild. I did every night for the next month or so. I got completely lost in this game, finding Korok seeds, beating every shrine, and doing as much of the game as possible. I got all the memories, which made me fall in love with the story, wishing we got way more than we did. I did all the banger side quests, especially the one where you build your own house and an entire town. I bought and played through all of the DLC, learned all the best cooking recipes, and spent so many hours just walking around and uncovering every corner of this map. There were times where I'd stumble into an area and realized it was from an older Zelda game. The exploration is amazing, and paired with the sandbox is where this game shines. It was such a huge jump for a Zelda game and for open world games in general. The combat was also super fun for me, and hot take, I really enjoyed the weapon durability. It made me strategize more and try out lots of new weapons. When you play this game, don't be the gamer that hangs on to their most powerful weapons, never to use them. Just use them. You can always find more. Okay, at least use them for the more powerful enemies. Going back to my favorite part of this game was the world and some of the bigger side quests. Well, a little studio called Monolith worked on this game, which also were the devs of the Xenoblade Chronicles series. I see a pattern here. Monolith just may be the greatest video game devs of all time, and even Nintendo wants you to play Xenoblade by giving you a taste of what they can do in Breath of the Wild. There are even parallel side quests where in Breath of the Wild you build a city, and in Xenoblade Chronicles you build a city. Breath of the Wild is such a banger game that I loved so much. I dumped 90 hours into my first character doing as much as I could. Then I got my own Switch and my own copy of Breath of the Wild, and I dropped another 90 hours into it. I had started consuming tons of YouTube videos on the game, from tip videos to hidden secrets and Easter eggs. I love this game, and the magic I experienced playing through it for the first time was unparalleled. Traveling all over the map, fighting all sorts of monsters, beating the lame main dungeons, doing the banger side quests, getting power-ups and upgrades, getting more inventory space, and finding all the drip to put Link in. Breath of the Wild is amazing, and is a game everyone should experience at least once in your life. Those are 5 games I wish I could replay for the first time. If there was a way to capture that feeling in a bottle that I got from each of these different games and then inject it into my brain whenever I could, I would. The magic you experience when you find a game that really connects with you and that you get so much enjoyment out of is really special and something that I chase often and always get sad when I finish a game like that. There's an upside to all this. The beauty of video games is there are so many out there for you to play, and chances are you'll find that magic again.